Namaste Narshingaya. Namaste Narshingaya. Krishna Vishnu Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Mahalakshmi Devi ki jai, Bhakta Prahlad Raj ki jai, Srila Prabhupad ki jai.
Program with such positive vibrations and giving us the Maha Mantra. So let's give them a round of applause. And to the entire Kirtan team, thank you so much. So, Hare Krishna to everyone.
Hare Krishna.
We can do better than that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It's absolutely so wonderful to gather here every second Friday and see all your lovely devotees and happy faces on behalf of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness.
Remembrance of all the devotees here and some of these very senior devotees that are sitting out in the back. And it's also an honor to represent the devotees that are here, also my Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada and our ISKCON Society. So devotees, we'll start off with Jaya Radha Madhava and we'll go into some invocation prayers, and thereafter we'll discuss the topic Shelter Beyond the Storms. So if you all can please join me so that I'm not so nervous. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Radha Nata Radha Radha Nata Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astata Saratasa Shishmad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astata Sarasata Shishimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Ananta Gauri Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Sharidas Thakur ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Radha Kun Giri Govardhan ki Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki Jagannath Subhadra Balarama ki Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Hari ki Srila Prabhupad ki Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki Gangamai Jamunamai ki Bhakti Devi Tulasi Devi ki Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories unto the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, thank you very much, devotees. Before we start the class, we'll do some invocation prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurube Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Statam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kantana Goptate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpadarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Parthasarati Das Goswami Iti Namine Das Goswaminam Bande Nama Bhajana Samshaya Yam Yam Desha Guru Desha Stapakam Siddhavatsanam. Everyone, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Vastachadishatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangolete Girim Yatripataham Bande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam. By the mercy of Guru, even a dumb man can become the greatest orator, and even a lame man can cross mountains. This is from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 17, text 18. So devotees, the topic that we're going to be discussing this evening is shelter beyond the storms. It is an opportunity for us in finding inner peace amidst life's challenges and the trials that we actually go through. So before I start this, I'd like to read something from Srila Prabhupad. That he spoke in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter 29, text number 50. And it is entitled, How Can Life Be Auspicious? Sri Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the super soul and guide of all living entities who have accepted the material bodies within this world. He is the supreme controller of all material activities in material nature. He is also our best friend and everyone should take shelter at his lotus feet. In doing so, one's life will be auspicious. This was translated by Srila Prabhupada. So devotees, this topic obviously can be very, very vast, and we can discuss many things, but we'll try and keep it as short as possible. So, imagine, standing in the eye of a storm that's coming, right? I think many of you have been or have witnessed this or have experienced this. With the recent tornado that swept through these parts of Lamesi and Tongat and Palito. So imagine standing there and looking at this and thinking, okay, what do we do? That's one of the trials that we can go through, material nature that affects us. We can also look at a pastime that took place in Vrindavan, the Govardhan Leela, where Lord Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill for 7 days and 7 nights. That was quite a trial and tribulations for the residents of Vrindavan. These are all close associates of Krishna. And they were there and they were going through this experience, So that's something that we can look at. We can also look at Arjuna here on this battlefield, He's in the midst of war and he's going to kill his relatives. That's another trial and tribulation and challenge that we can look at. This can be regarded as one of the storms that comes to our lives. We can also look at our favorite, Prahlad Maharaj, 5-year-old boy, what did he go through? And we can also look at Lord Ramachandra. This is the Supreme Lord that went through so much of trouble to get Mother Sita back, and all the personalities that helped him. These are all the trials that we go through. We can also look at our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupad, leaving India, not knowing where he's going to go, landing in Boston Harbor. According to Lilamrita, he didn't know whether to turn left, right, where to go with his suitcase of Bhagavatams and paraphernalia that he carried with him on this journey, for probably almost a month at sea. While at sea, suffering 2 heart attacks, celebrating Janmashtami on a ship with no festival, no devotees like this that are sitting here and giving us inspiration. Prabhupada was alone. Obviously, he wasn't alone. Krishna was with him. Trials like that we go through, right? And obviously, everyone else has their own personal trials and tribulations that we go through. And this can be varied, there's a whole list of things that we can go through. We can look at, what happened after all of this took place. Srila Prabhupada, in his diary entry, when he had those heart attacks, he didn't know what to do. And what did he do? He decided to write. And he's writing this letter not knowing who's going to read it. And in that letter, what did he write? He doesn't know what's going to happen to him. And obviously, we know that Krishna protected him, from that trial and tribulation. And we are all here today because of that. Because of Srila Prabhupada, all our spiritual masters, our ISKCON gurus that have come, given us shelter, and that's why we are here today. So we can look at how these trials can bring us this anxiety, these calamities, and these challenges in life. But, as that English saying goes, there's always, the cloud that has a silver lining, So we can always look at that, and we can also look at, draw inspiration from spirituality, from philosophy, and from our own personal growth and personal experiences that we can share. So, devotees, not long ago, 2020, biggest thing that happened in our lives, I think, COVID came, right? And what happened? Everything shut down. No visiting the temple, can't see Jagannath's smiling face at New Jagannath Puri, can't go to Radha Radhanath and take their darshan. When this came, we thought that was it. We're all going to perish and we're all going to leave. But through Krishna's mercy, through the devotees' blessings, through Harinam Sankirtan, through Food for Life, all the activities that are spiritually, enrich us, we overcame this huge trial. Does anyone know how many people left their bodies during COVID? I know it goes into the millions, but I think in our country we had quite a substantial amount of people that left our bodies, and obviously our spiritual mentors that left because of COVID. And when we think of COVID, when it came, we obviously all went into a state of depression. People that didn't even get COVID, committed suicide because they couldn't handle this trial and tribulations. I'm sorry if this brings back, bad memories for you. That's not my intention. But it's obviously to show us that anything that we go through in life, the moment we put Krishna in the center, we put Guru in the center, we put our spiritual mentors in the center, we can overcome all of this. Apart from COVID, we can look at someone that lost someone dear to them, near and dear. That's something that's very, very difficult to forget in life. But through spirituality, we understand the nature of the soul, how the soul works, how the soul moves on, and how people can actually grow from just learning about the soul and being part of parcel of Krishna. Knowing about the future, everyone wants to know what's going to come tomorrow, right? But many of the times we are fearful of this, and then because of this uncertainty, we try and find ways of understanding what's going to happen in the future. Whereas we can just take shelter of Lord Krishna, His devotees, His Bhagavad Gita, the Holy Scriptures, and Prasadam, and know that we'll be sheltered, right, from whatever comes. We can also look at when Arjuna was on the battlefield, right? He's on this battlefield and he's going to break out into this huge war that's going to last for 18 days. He is uncertain of what's going to happen. He doesn't know whether he's going to be killed in this war. He doesn't know how many people he's going to kill in that war. And he doesn't know whether his brothers and family members that are going to remain, are going to get through this war. And the conversation carries on from chapter 1 right up until chapter 18. And Krishna is giving Arjuna pertinent instructions, about why the soul is indestructible. And Arjuna comes to a point where he gives up and he says, okay, now that you are here on this battlefield with me and you've given me this direction, in chapter 2, text number 7, Arjuna surrenders to Lord Krishna. So he says, now I am confused about my duty and I've lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So at that point, Arjuna basically put his entire life into the hands of Lord Krishna, but not as a friend, not as a cousin, not as someone that he was familiar with. Now he's taken the role of a disciple, and Krishna is his spiritual master. And when he took shelter of that, everything became very clear for him. On the onset of the battle, everything was vague, when you can't see in mist when you're driving, Krishna comes and he clears all this misconceptions and these doubts that he's been experiencing and having. And Arjuna put forth many, many arguments of why he shouldn't fight, As many of you know, that Arjuna was a Kshatriya. Kshatriya means someone who fights, in layman's term, someone who fights, someone who protects, someone who gives shelter to. And Arjuna wants to become something averse to that. He wanted to become a Brahmana, go into the forest and live in the forest, and that's it, not do his duty. But Krishna told him, no, you can't do that because that is not your dharma, that is not your duty. Your duty is to fight and protect. That is why this whole battle is taking place. It's not that one day they woke up and they said, okay, on this day we're going to go out and we're going to fight because we just feel like it. No. This was a war because of unrighteousness, And Krishna came basically to set forth righteousness. We can also look at Prahlad Maharaj, 5-year-old boy. He wanted spirituality. We won't go into the detail of how Prahlad Maharaj came to the position. But we can look at the trial and tribulation that he faced. He was going to be put to death by his own father, not by someone else, not by someone unknown, not by some distant person, but this was his own father, his flesh and blood, right? And what did Prahlad Maharaj do? All he did was pray internally to Lord Krishna. Please protect. He didn't even ask for protection. He could have asked for protection immediately, and Krishna would have given it to him. But all he did was just surrendered to what was coming towards him, knowing well that Krishna will protect him, right? We can see that, Hiranyakashipu put Prahlad Maharaj to so much of torture, so much of trauma, that, we'll spend, a lot of money going to psychiatric help, to come out of that trauma that he's gone. This is 5-year-old child, being fed poison, being put in front of huge elephants to trample him. And Prahlad Maharaj's meditation was only one thing. I have taken shelter of Lord Krishna, and whatever he decides that is right for me, I will accept it. So if Krishna wants me to die in this manner, then so be it, I accept it. And that's what Prahlad Maharaj did. He didn't fight it, he didn't reject it, he accepted it. Free willing, knowing that Krishna will protect him. And we see the end result is the appearance of Lord Nrsingadev. And Lord Nrsingadev gives protection to his devotees under any situation. I think many of you have visited the Goshala in Seatides. The tornado that came, it hit. Mataji always tells us this inspirational story how the tornado came, and somehow the cows were always protected. So if Krishna can look after only his cows, what about his devotees? And anyone who's seeking his shelter, actually. Later on we'll discuss a verse of Krishna where he gives us instruction on how we can come dear to him, facing all the calamities that can come. So Prahlad Maharaj is another example that we can look at. And then obviously the one that everyone is familiar is the Govardhan Leela. You know the story, the main part of the story of why Krishna lifted Govardhan hill, right? What led to it was pride and ego. Lord Indra, being a supreme personality, that was the king of heaven, and that was his supreme abode. But he, at some point, forgot that Krishna is the supreme controller of everything. Lord Indra in charge of the weather, maybe in charge of the storms, maybe in charge of certain things, in his administrative duties. And while he was doing that, he forgot that Lord Krishna is the supreme controller. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the all in all. And what happened? He told his father, Nanda Maharaj, no, you don't have to worship Lord Indra on this day of Indra Puja. You can just worship this hill called Govardhan. And his father, okay, why must we worship Govardhan? Because he says, but the rain, and then, Nanda Maharaj gave the excuse that the rain, Indra is giving us this rain, that's why our fields are so nice. But then he's saying, but Krishna is giving, this rain is falling in the rivers and the oceans, everyone is getting it. Why only, we should only do this puja here? I'm telling you for certain, just worship Govardhan hill. And obviously, because of pride, Indra got very, very angry and upset. And what did he do? Anyone knows the name of those clouds that came? Can you say it one more time? Samvartaka clouds, yes. I think Gopika knows the name, but she's shy to say it. Yeah, those personalities that create this disturbance of rain, hail, and thunder and lightning, they have names. Indra has given them their duty, and he ordered them, you go down to this place. in Vrindavan and you torment the people there with rain that you haven't seen before. I mean, we've experienced some rain that we thought was, very tumultuous and frightening. But what they went through for 7 days and 7 nights was really, really, upsetting. So much so that the entire village of Vrindavan was swept away. And what did Krishna do? All he told his devotees, don't worry, I will protect you all. And 7-year-old boy lifting on the left hand. Our left hand is considered to be the weakest hand for those that are right-handed. And on his little finger, for 7 days and 7 nights, he picked up Govardhan Hill. And what did he do? He gave them shelter. Because when storms come, what do you necessarily look for? I mean, the first thing you look for is shelter. When there's a war that breaks out, people look for shelters from the bombs that come. Prabhupada in Calcutta, when the British and the Germans were coming, they were bombing certain places, and Prabhupada and all of them went into the shelter. What was their shelter? Sitting under Radha Govinda and Radha Madan Mohan. That was their shelter. So Krishna gives us this shelter provided that we seek it. Sometimes we may think of, why do I have to worship Krishna only? But he is the supreme controller. That is why we take shelter of him. And when we take shelter of him, we are certain that whatever Krishna does is for our own benefit. He may put us through all these trials and tribulations. Not necessarily he is doing it. Whatever trials and tribulations we go through, at some point in time, it is due through our own actions. That's the fact of it. In Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 3, we discuss karma yoga. Everything is there in detail, right? So, in Vrindavan, when this rain was coming, everyone was turning to Krishna. But Lord Krishna, maybe there's still time, we can still go and appease Lord Indra. And Lord Indra is thinking, yes, you can do that and I'll stop it immediately. Krishna said, no, we're not going to relent. Don't worry, nothing's going to happen. Everything will be okay. And on the 7th day, what happened? His clouds, they couldn't function anymore because they all have limited qualities. Whereas Lord Krishna has unlimited qualities, and his quantity is greater than that of the Devis and Devatas. And that is why he is the supreme controller and enjoyer. So we can look at those things that give us these calamities, and we can look at strength and how we can overcome this by that. We can also look at other things, that when these storms come and this trial and tribulations come, sometimes we may get bewildered and we may get blinded. Although we may be spiritually charged, energized, having a guru, having so much of facility with us to go over this, over these calamities that come. But sometimes there's distractions that come. And these distractions can come in form of addictions, avoidance. Why must I chant Hare Krishna every day? Today I won't chant. I'll leave it out. Avoid this thing. So sometimes we think because of these calamities that come, maybe we can avoid all of this by, doing something else, get distracted by it. And then we seek shelters of places that we shouldn't be going to, And we think, I will be safe here for some time. And these places may give us some comfort for that short duration, but the problem doesn't go away, right? If someone is suffering from some form of cancer, the first thing to do is go to a doctor that can help you. That's the most sensible thing to do, right? As devotees, we know our body is very important to us because we want to use it to serve Lord Krishna and his devotees. So when we don't take instruction, if the physician tells you, my dear person, your boy or girl, you have such and such disease, you have to seek medical guidance. And sometimes you may say, no, I don't need this, I will take something else. Sometimes we may go and take intoxication, drugs and stuff like that, and we think that we'll be, saved by this. When Arjuna chose to seek shelter at Lord Krishna's feet, he basically gave him in the 2:7 the verse that we read. He basically told him that now I'm surrendered. Whatever you tell me to do, I will listen and I will do. So similarly, when we take shelter of Guru gives us instruction. Shankarshan Prabhu is here. He's a nice devotee. He's a disciple of Ram Govinda Swami. I'm sure Maharaj has given him specific instructions to follow. But if he doesn't listen to that, Shankarshan Prabhu will know what's going to happen. If we don't listen to Guru's instruction, there's going to be some recourse that we're going to have to pay for. Similarly, if we don't listen to the doctor's advice, that illness that could have gotten healed from in a few months may take years, and sometimes it might be too late. When we take shelter of Guru and Gauranga, we know that for certain that whatever comes through, Krishna will give us the intelligence on how to deal with that. Krishna tells us in Bhagavad Gita, he gives us remembrance and he also gives us forgetfulness. But over and above that, he gives us intelligence. We can choose to forget Krishna at a certain time, or we can choose to remember him. When we remember him, he can give us intelligence on how to deal with certain situations. It may sound easy, but it's definitely not easy, right? Only those that have went through trials and tribulations in their life will understand the gravity of it. I'm sitting here comfortable thinking that nothing will happen to me, right? But at some point, I will go through some anxiety, some distress. At that moment in time, how do we reach out? What do we do? We could go into seclusion and we can, say, be distracted by everything else and just not do anything and hope that this thing will go away. But we know that's not true, right? But the moment we seek shelter of Guru, his devotees, other personalities that can guide us. Some people may be going through the same trials and tribulations as you, and they may have ideas on how to overcome this. And when there's two of you together, you may come up with some solution that will let you overcome this trial and tribulations that you're facing. And Arjuna, we saw when he took shelter of Lord Krishna, he had the support of his brothers, right? And when he had the support of his brothers, they had strength in that and how to overcome this. And then we see in the end, they win the war. When we get distracted, right, we know that distraction is limited. There's only a certain time limit that we can actually go to. And whereas if we take when we take a spiritual solution, we know guaranteed that the solution it may take long, but at some point we know that the end result will be in our favor, because that's what Krishna will want. And we can see when the residents eventually surrendered to Lord Krishna at Govardhan Hill, what happened after the 8th day? They celebrated Govardhan Puja. They brought all the preparations that they made, and they all had a feast. And what happened to Indra? Indra had to come down and seek forgiveness from Lord Krishna, not knowing that Krishna is his master, and he admitted it. Another shelter that we can look at is looking at shelter within ourselves, right? As we know, Lord Krishna resides within our heart, or the region of the heart, as Paramatma, guiding us all the time. I'm sure many of you, at some point in time, you are alone. You think you're alone, but obviously Krishna is there, and you think of something, and then you think, who's watching me? You turn back to look, there's no one there, but you're alone in this room. That's not Krishna in your heart that's telling you, I am here, I am watching, I am observing, I can guide you, I can give you shelter. Tell me what you want. But many a times we don't turn to Lord Krishna, and what happens? Then these calamities become even worse to face. But the moment we turn towards Krishna, immediately there's some solace that we find, right? The other way that we can look at from the internal perspective is chanting the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we know the moment we turn into internal meditation, this cleanses us internally and externally as well. Once we take internal shelter, the chanting, meditation, seeking advice from Guru, seeking advice from our senior mentors, our senior devotees, or someone that we trust. Sometimes you may find a friend who's not a devotee, but he's someone that inspires you, or she that inspires you. We can also seek shelter like that. But building this inner strength is obviously not easy, right? We can speak of it and say that it's easy, but Arjuna, when he was on this battlefield, trying to kill his grandfather, that's not very pleasant, right? So how to deal with it? Krishna has given him the instruction how to deal with it, and he overcame that. And he actually did that, by fighting with his relatives. They were annihilated, but because of Krishna's presence, they all got saved. Sometimes, even as devotees, we need to take a break. We look at nature, and taking break, especially for those devotees that are working in environments that are fast-paced or in a fast-paced world, you need a break to recharge, right? So sometimes devotees, when they take their break, they like to go to Vrindavan, Mayapur, Jagannath Puri, or any ISKCON center throughout the world. And that's a way of us disconnecting from our routine of coming to Namahatta on a Friday afternoon at 7 o'clock. I'm not coming next week because I'm going to be in Vrindavan, I'm going to take shelter, I'm going to recharge my batteries, right? So when these trials and tribulations come, we can also do things like that. But some of us may not have the financial means to do that. Then what do? We can take a break. You can book a room at Radharadhana temple. Come and spend a weekend at the temple. Make arrangements with your Jagannath Puri temple. Try and visit, stay somewhere close. That's your break time. By doing that, you disconnect with all the trials and tribulations that you're going through for that brief moment. It's not going to go away. It's not going to disappear. But taking shelter in these holy places gives us inspiration to overcome them. The calamity may still be there. If it's a disease that we're going through, it may still be there. But going to these places to disconnect and then connect with Lord Krishna, with Lord Jagannath at these places, we'll find solace that yes, this disease is there, it's going to affect me. This is how I'm going to cope with it. By having Krishna's darshan, by having Lord Jagannath's darshan, by having Mahaprasad, by speaking to the senior devotees, by getting nourished by words of wisdom by them. This is what will help us when we disconnect. Sometimes in the material world, we disconnect in different ways. We go out for a break in the Drakensberg mountain. It's okay. There's no harm. But it's a way of disconnecting from these trials and tribulations. It's a break from knowing that this disease is there, but for the short break, I'm going to overcome this, by focusing my energy now on going internally, thinking of Krishna, thinking of Guru, thinking of the devotees and how best I can serve them while going through these trials and tribulations. Devotees, I think we're going to be going out of time, so I'm going to skip through some other parts where we can draw inspiration from. When we look at, material solutions, they are very limited, and they have a short, span life, if I could use that word, for no better word right now. But when we look at spiritual shelter, we see that it's a long-term commitment. And even when we pass on, that spiritual commitment that we made carries us forward into our next journey, on the spiritual path. We can look at verse 1865 that Lord Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita, and this is something that anyone can adopt in their life at any time. This verse is so important that Krishna mentions it twice. I think many of you know it. Anyone has any idea which verses that Krishna mentions twice in the Bhagavad Gita? 100% correct, yeah. So it's, yeah. Yeah. You want to say the whole verse? It will be nice. You can give me some inspiration. That's okay. We all make mistakes. Yeah, there's two verses, 934 and 1865. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. If y'all want, y'all can say it. You like to? Mam evashyasi satyam te pratijana priyo asmi. Right? Translation. And this is something, devotees, that you can all do. Whether you initiated, not initiated, you want inspiration from Lord Krishna. This is Lord Krishna's guarantee for you. You know, when you buy something, you get a guarantee or warranty. Those things are limited, you know. In 2 years, 6 months, or 8 months, or 5 years, it's going to expire. But Krishna's words in the Bhagavad Gita, these two verses, is giving you a committed guarantee. Always think of me, Lord Krishna, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Just these 4 things. Just these 4 things only. Thus, you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. This is what Krishna is saying to you, that these calamities will come. You know, many trials and tribulations will come. But just 4 things. Forget everything else. Do not worry about anything else. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gave Arjuna so much of information that you can get exhausted by just listening to it, right? And then he comes and he tells Arjuna in this verse, just these 4 things only, right? And then to give further confirmation and further assurance, because like us, you know, we have medical aid and we take gap cover, right? Krishna is giving you some gap cover here now. 1866. Anyone like to repeat this verse? I think everyone knows this verse. Who's the brave soul that I'd like to recite the Sanskrit? I know a lot of devotees in this audience. I can call your name if you don't want to. 1866. Anyone knows? You all are so humble. So Krishna says, Sarva Dharma Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Raja Aham Tam Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Shishami Ma Suchaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupad. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. You know, Krishna is giving you this extra cover that if you have some doubts, you know, Arjuna is telling Arjuna, if you still have some doubts, you know, this is the guarantee I'm giving you. Do not fear. Whatever action you perform now on this battlefield, you know for certain that you will still be delivered. You know, because Arjuna was worried about what's going to happen when all these soldiers are going to die, right? Because all these soldiers on the battlefront, they left family at home. Who's going to take care of the wife, the children? Krishna is saying him, don't worry, will be sorted. You know, that's the guarantee that Krishna is giving you, that whatever trials and tribulations you face, this is what will happen. And to further reinforce this, you know, when these trials and tribulations come, sometimes we think that, you know, we cannot pray to Lord Krishna and ask him to save me and protect me. Because I want to serve his devotees, I want to be with his devotees, I want to associate with his devotees. You know, there's a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, text number 10. It says, Akama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena vayite purusham param. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of material desires, without any material desires, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So when we pray to Krishna in this way, guaranteed he will give us shelter from the tribulations that we face. Devotees, I just want to end off with some words of wisdom by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is one of our great acharyas in our line. And he wrote something that I found very, very inspirational. And this is in his book called Sri Chaitanya, His Life and Precepts by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He writes, the rational man can hardly conceive or believe in Krishna and his Leela. But as man's spiritual vision improves, he sees Krishna and loves him with all his heart. This subject can be hardly explained in fully and exhaustively. We therefore leave this point to our readers with these words. Give up the shackles of material life slowly. Cultivate your spiritual consciousness internally. Give up prejudices that you have acquired from the so-called rational thinkers who deny the existence of spirit. Be humble and learn to respect those who work towards spiritual attainments. Do this with your heart, mind, and strength in the company of Vaishnavas alone, and you will see Krishna in no time. Krishna is not an imaginary being, nor have you a right to think that he is material. He is a material phenomenon, fancied to be the supreme being by fools. Krishna is not understood by the process of distinguishing the subjective from the objective, nor he is to be accepted as his imposition on the people set out by self-interested men. Krishna is eternal, spiritually true, reflected on the human soul, relieved of all attachment to dull matter, and is the subject of love which proceeds from the soul. Accept him as such, and you will see him with your soul's eyes. This is an inspiration from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur that we can take, knowing that Krishna will always be with us no matter what we face in our lives. There is some questions. Can we still take the questions or end off? Hare Krishna. You touched on COVID, and His Holiness Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Swami Maharaj yesterday's post said that the biggest problem in the next decade and beyond is not going to be any physical ailment, and it's going to be the mind. Now the emphasis is on spiritual organizations to guide youth mentally to cope. How do we help current devotees and our children to have a good future? Sometimes one cannot even chant because of the mental degradation, and some don't ask for help due to the stigma attached, etc. Thank you. Asking this because of all stress, suicides, family killings, etc. Yes, devotees, this is something that's pertinent in our community, and we've seen many, we've read in the news how there's no solutions to material problems, right? Any material problem that we face, know for certain that there is a spiritual solution for it. We just have to seek guidance. And sometimes, devotees, we may seek guidance from people. When giving that advice, try and do it with lots of compassion, kindness, and care. Because sometimes we may be looking at it from a devotee perspective and say that, everything will be okay. Just do this, just do that. No, we must really be, we must really feel the empathy in us. Because when we are empathetic to someone, we're putting ourselves in their shoes, in that position. And Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Swami, I actually read this quote yesterday. The youth that are here right now, at some point you're going to be sitting here doing this discourse for some other personalities that are going to come, right? You need to take charge of that, because this is your responsibility in your spiritual life. You have to take charge of it. When the devotees give you some duty to perform in this Namahatta or in the temple, take charge of it. Know that you have a spiritual foundation that is very, very strong, right? And if you can't chant, right, what did Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur say? If you can't chant, just still chant. No matter what happens, just continue chanting. Don't stop it. We become very enamored, to say, okay, I'm chanting 16 rounds. The quality is not there, but the quantity is there, right? What the focus should be the next. Let's improve on the the quality, right? Let's improve the quality. Even if it takes us 50 years, let us take time and improve on the quality. If you can't chant because of the mental degradation, then read something inspirational from your favorite author, Sometimes we look at material books to give us inspiration, and yes, they can be of inspiration to us. Sometimes they can inspire us to go back to the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada's books. You'll hear many of our spiritual leaders will tell us that everything that we need in this material world is in Srila Prabhupada's books. If we turn our attention, if you can't chant for that moment, His Holiness Bhakti Brihad Bhagavata Swami once said that sometimes, yes, we can lose the taste for chanting, right? And all he said was, when that happens, all we do is you put your bead bag down, you pick up the kartals, and you just chant out aloud for 5 minutes, right? When you do that, immediately, guaranteed, that taste for chanting will come back. You can pick up your japa beads and you can try it. Give it a try. I guarantee you it will work, And when we seek Pushalta, if you know of people that are going through things like this, direct them to someone that you know who will guide them and take them out of the situation that they're feeling the stress in, Because sometimes someone will think, there is no other solution other than taking their own life, which we know is incorrect because it's not the right process. We all meant out to live this life according to how Krishna planned it out, If we are meant to live till 80 years, that's the life we have to lead till 80 years. Suffering and all, But knowing that Krishna is always with us will give us some solace to say that we can overcome this. The next question. The question is, why do we always speak on Krishna? What about the other gods? Don't you worship them? We speak about Krishna because Srila Prabhupada said that, when he was founding this movement, someone put this question to him, why don't we make it God consciousness? And Srila Prabhupada said, no. We want to make it Krishna consciousness because we want to become conscious of Krishna. Why we only pray to Krishna is because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You will not hear Lord Ramachandra saying that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Ramayana you can go and look. Lord Ramachandra doesn't say I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He came in the role of a king, the son of a king, the prince. He was the king here, he was going to take the throne and rule the world. That was his duty at that point in time. The other personalities, we still pray to them. Lord Ganesha, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Lord Indra. We respect them, Why do we respect them? Because they are great personalities. They are serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we take shelter of these, the Devis and Devatas, we pray to them. But our prayer is different. Our prayer is very different to the conventional prayers that you may be used to. Our prayer is simply, my dear Lord Ganesha, you are considered to be the remover of obstacles, Kindly remove all the obstacles on my path of bhakti so that I can get more closer to Lord Krishna and worship Him, sincerely. Lord Ganesha actually performed service to Lord Nrsingadev. You'll see one of his tusks is broken because he was writing, words. And that's why when we pray to Lord Nrsingadev, we ask for all this, whatever obstacles on our path of bhakti, Lord Nrsingadev, you remove it. Lord Ganesha is also there helping to remove these obstacles. So when we pray to the other Devis and Devatas, we do pray. We offer respects to them. We should offer respects to them. And if we don't, it's actually an offense. So we worship them, but in a different way, right? Our soul worship is towards Lord Krishna, because Krishna is described as a tree, and the Devis and Devatas are all described as the leaves on these trees. And when we water the tree, we don't water every single leaf that's on the tree. This analogy was given by many of our senior devotees and gurus in ISKCON. We worship the root. We water the root, And when we water the root, what happens? Everything gets nourished. It doesn't mean that we do not worship the other Devis and Devatas. We do, but it's in a different manner and a different way for a different objective. I hope that's okay and not disrespectful to the person that asked this question. How does one find balance in spiritual practice and performing our prescribed duties in this material world? Thank you. Many of us work. By show of hands, many of you work or... Okay, so those that don't put your hands up, which means you can devote your life totally to spiritual life, right? No. How do we balance spiritual life and material life? Through hard work. Nothing is going to come easy, right? If you have to study for an exam, what do? You prepare for it, right? Children are writing exams right now. They're very stressed. The parents are also stressed, right? But if you don't learn, what's going to happen? If I just go and sit, if I'm writing my chartered accountant's exams in 2 weeks' time, if I don't start studying 3 months ago, and I'm leaving it in 2 weeks' time to start studying, I'm going to fail, right? Similarly, with our spiritual life, we have to make time for spiritual life. And how do we make time? We practice the day before. We get things ready for the next spiritual day today. We don't leave it for the last minute. We know we have to wake up at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. We know when we wake up, this is what I'm going to do. From 5 to 7, I devote my time to spiritual activities. From 7 to 8, I can do my material household duties that I need to do. From 8 to 5, I'm going to work and then get some things done. Sometimes at work we can steal time to do some devotional work. I'm not saying you must do that because you may get fired. But having this balance, if we start early, everything, and one of the most famous things that these devotees have struggled with is chanting their 16 rounds. But if you pace it out, Srila Prabhupada gave a very, very simple answer to this, especially relating to chanting, right? Chant 4 rounds before breakfast. Take your breakfast, chant another 4 rounds before lunch, have lunch, chant another 4 rounds before having an afternoon meal, and then just before supper you chant your 4 rounds. Your 16 rounds is done, right? Once in a room conversation, Prabhupada was sitting with his devotees, his disciples, and he just finished chanting his last round, 16 rounds. And he took his beads, and I'm sure you must have heard this. I think Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Swami, when he visited last, he said this, mentioned it in our temple. He took his bead bag and he threw it aside and he said, now I can do any damn thing I want. So when our spiritual activities is balanced, that's what it gives us the freedom to anything that we want, right? It doesn't mean we forget the spiritual things, right? Balancing it is an art, and it's something that we have to put into practice, And the easiest way is by rising early, having a plan of what we're going to do for that day. Because when you go to work, you have a plan of what you're going to do, your duties for the day of work, right? A doctor or a lawyer, they know exactly what they're going to do for that day. They're not going to go there blindly and just do whatever comes their way, wing it. No, it's not going to work out. So if we, in our spiritual practice, if we really take our spiritual practice very seriously, we'll plan it out for the rest of the day. How I'm going to do certain things at which point in the day. And when we do that, guaranteed success will come. And this is one way that you can balance it. Even if you're married and you have a family life, all of this and doing devotional service is possible because we can see by example of devotees that are in this practice actually, right? You can look at devotees that actually have this. I think some time back, His Grace Prabhu gave a class and he mentioned this. So you can look at his life. How does he manage his work life, his spiritual life, his family life, and still have time for some recreation? It's hard, but it's possible. So I hope that answers it. Thank you very much, devotees. We'll end off here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you once again to His Grace Alanath Prabhu and his wonderful family that's joined us. His lovely wife Dharampatni Radhika Priya Mataji, their two lovely daughters Sarisha and Gopika Manjari, as well as Nishay Prabhu that came, and they all have come for the very first time. So let's give them another round of applause. Your class was truly very inspirational, Prabhu, and very motivating. And thank you for sharing that words of wisdom with us. I'm sure that we all feel spiritually recharged after a long week of material work that many of us engage in all the time. To come to Namahatta, it really spiritually energizes us. So thank you once again to His Grace Alanath Prabhu. I do have a few announcements to make. On the 26th of March, the Food for Life Coastal will be having a Ram Navami feed. So prasad will be cooked and distributed to a few schools. Mahaprasad Prabhu and Madhurya Mataji make a humble request. If you are available, it's a Thursday, and they are meeting at 8 o'clock to start the Food for Life distribution, as well as going to the schools. So if you are available on Thursday, the 26th of March for this Ram Navami feed, please do come through. Lots of hands are needed, as Prabhu and Mataji plan to go to many different schools to do this feed. Also on the 19th of April, please do save. Our Limasi Namahatta will be preparing the Sunday Love Feast Prasad at the Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Temple. We humbly request you all to save the date, come through and join us, assist us, as well as the Saturday, which is the 18th of April. We will be meeting here. Madhurya Mataji will confirm the time on our Limasi WhatsApp group as to when we're meeting on that Saturday. We would require lots of hands to assist us, lots of cleaning of vegetables, and many other things that would be happening to assist the Sunday Love Feast Prasad. So thank you in advance for all the support that you will be giving us and always have been giving us. Also, I know I've made this announcement before. This year, the 2026, the tent campaign will be taking place on the 17th and 18th of July. Now, Kuki Mataji and her lovely family that are very, very instrumental at our Limasi Namahatta, that's her sons Niren, Divesh, Soni Prabhu, they have come up with a wonderful initiative to raise funds for the tent campaign. So many of you all would remember that Kuki Mataji had a booklet, and it was 10 Rand a ticket. Many of you all assisted with this process, and you all bought a ticket. And today we have a raffle for whomever that bought the ticket. I'm going to ask Alanath Prabhu to please pick out a number. Open this. So Alanath Prabhu is going to pick out a number, and hopefully whoever won, Kuki Mataji, if you could get ready with the prize. 150. Okay, Niren has the booklet with him. I'm not sure who number 150 is, 150. Natasha. There's only one Natasha. So let's give her a round of applause. Please come through, Natasha. So Natasha has just won this raffle, and Kuki Mataji is bringing through the gift. Alanath Prabhu can hand her the gift. Let's give her a round of applause. So as I said, this is such a wonderful initiative to raise funds for our tent campaign, because putting together a festival over 2 days of that magnitude is not always very easy. And, every year we come together with so many different activities. So thank you, a big thank you to Cookie Mataji and her family. And another very interesting point that Cookie Mataji had brought to my attention. So there's another raffle book. This one is going to be 50 Rand a ticket and a promise of wonderful gifts. So this is the first raffle we had. We will be having another one. Cookie Mataji does have the new booklet. It's 50 Rand a ticket. And the good news and the exciting news to this one is that we were going to pick out 3 names this time. So it will be a first, second prize and a third prize. So a huge round of applause to the initiative. So thank you very much for that. So please do assist. It's 50 Rand. It goes a long way if all of us get together. And remember, we also will be having lots of plans and engagements with regards to the tent campaign, and we will need your love, support, and assistance.
Hare Krishna devotees, one announcement that I need to make. Devotees, as you know, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, when it comes to the Easter weekend, one of the famous festivals that Durban hosts is the Rath Yatra, the Festival of Chariots, also known as the Rath Yatra Festival. And this year it's going to be on the weekend of the 3rd to the 6th of April. And I'd like to encourage all of you to please partake in this festival. Invite your family, your friends, your relatives. It's 4 days of cultural entertainment. I know we don't like to use the word entertainment, but it's 4 days of spiritual inspiration, And you can look forward to, there's a mantra meditation tent that's catering for the youth, the youth that's in our society. It's called Bhakti Cloud. If you're a poet, if you're a rapper, if you're a singer, or if you're someone that wants to share wisdom with the likes of your age group, you can join this team, Bhakti Cloud. There's also wisdom books where you can find many books on spirituality and yoga and meditation. There's also going to be the Matchless Gift store, which you can purchase all devotee paraphernalia and other interesting garments. Then there's also going to be something that's for the kids. There's a kids carnival. There's a special tent just for the kiddies. And then there's obviously Govinda's Takeaway, the famous Govinda's Takeaway. I know there's going to be like 15,000 kachoris that's going to be there that you can purchase. There's going to be a body art tent. And there's also going to be a spiritual discussions tent where you can meet many of our inspirational leaders from South Africa and from abroad. We're getting devotees that are coming from, that preach in Brazil, preaching in Mayapur, in Vrindavan, in India, in America. His Holiness Bhakti Bringa Govinda Swami is going to be many other personalities that you may be familiar with. And then you can draw inspiration from these tents. So I'm hoping that I can meet many of you there. And if you want to do some service there as well, you can connect with the devotees from New Jagannath Puri Temple and the Shishi Radharadhana Temple, and they'll guide you on how you can be part of this festival. But most importantly, we want you to come so that we can see you again, and then we can share this great wisdom with you as well. Thank you very much, devotees. Hare Krishna.
So there we go, 2026 Rath Yatra taking place from the 3rd to the 6th of April, and that will happen at the Bay of Plenty at the Durban beachfront. As Prabhu said, so much to look forward to. We have the question and answer tent, we have the Bhakti Cloud tent, we have the Gopi Dots and Mehendi tent, the body art tent. There's so much happening at the beachfront over the 3rd to the 6th of April. And as I mentioned about our tent campaign being a big festival, Rath Yatra, even bigger, huge festival that happens annually that everyone looks forward to. And once again, lots of hands are needed, lot of assistance. So if you are available that weekend, you can contact the devotees and they can engage you all in some amazing service for the Rath Yatra weekend. Thank you once again to each and every one of you that are here with us, spending the Friday with us at Namahatta. We will move on to the next part of our program, and that is Aarti, followed by Guru Puja. Radhika Priya Mataji will be performing Aarti, and we have Balkrishna Prabhu that will do the final kirtan. So once again, thank you so much. There's delicious prasad awaiting you all after the program. Thank you once again. Hare Krishna and safe travels home. Okay. Okay, Naveen Prabhu has just reminded me that there are calendars available. Thank you so much, Naveen Prabhu. 2026 calendars. If you do not have a copy of the ISKCON calendar, they are here. There's quite a few there. You can grab yourself a copy. As well as if you want a copy of Bhagavad Gita, there is a copy on the altar that Madhurya Mataji said that she is offering to give to anyone, as well as japa beads. So we have a set of japa beads, a copy of Bhagavad Gita, as well as your 2026 ISKCON calendars. Thank you once again. May we please all rise for Aarti, followed by Guru Puja. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupad,
Hare
Only 1 minute.